again, everyone. Thank you for joining me for this, episode 2 of my podcast, Why Am I Here and He's Not? A father's journey to make sense of love, loss, and hope. My name is Larry Klopot. In the last episode, I began the story about my son, his very sudden death on May 2nd, 2024, and how my life changed that day. Of course, so many people who knew and loved my son had their lives changed forever as well. Not long after that terrible day, I began a journal because I needed to memorialize what I was feeling inside. Those feelings were all new and raw and unbearable at times, confusing at times, and always tinged with deep sadness and grief. I did come to understand that the sheer intensity of that grief was proportionate to the intensity of the love that I had for my son and the emptiness I felt by his absence. This podcast is meant to honor my son, but it's also meant to reach out to anyone who's going through what my wife and I are going through, and to reach out to anyone who knows someone who's in the throes of grief. I hope you'll join me as I read and talk about my journal and my journey. May 19th, 2024. It's 5:30 on a Sunday morning, and I had another odd and restless night. Fewer nightmares or dreams that I recall, but lots of tossing and turning. During those minutes, maybe hours, of being half awake and half asleep, I was thinking about the day I just had. I was thinking about my life, Arlene's life, and the life of our man-child, who I will never see again, and who I will never have my life dedicated to again. I continue to struggle with trying to put it all in perspective, and just can't do that yet. Why him? Why us? Why now? Why ever? I worry that I can tell the story of May 2nd in a fluid, calm, and orderly way as if I was recalling a trip I took to the store. Then in quiet moments soon after, I feel my stomach tense up, my eyes water, and my mind go directly to each moment of the day. I feel vividly and intensely my inaction of that morning, my hearing the police tell me his heart stopped, the doctor telling me later that he was not coming back, the utter anguish of calling Arlene to tell her he is dead. Who can ever get over that? When will I ever be able to write about it without seeing tears falling on the keyboard? I keep hearing that time will help. I keep trying to repeat my new mantra. It's only been X days or weeks. I keep hearing Pam in her ever reassuring and supportive way tell me it will get better. Maybe it will. And recently there are activities and thoughts that approach normalcy, but they are fleeting now. Will that be a forever thing? Yesterday, when we went to my sister's for a family barbecue, there was laughter. There were good one-on-one chats with my brother. There was storytelling. There were long, involved discussions about sports with my brother's son, something I miss more than anything doing with Alex. The night before, we had a couple who are dear friends over for dinner, where the topics covered were not only about Alex and what happened, but in both cases, there was still a lot of chatter about Alex and what did happen. In reflective moments during the dinner at our house and the barbecue at my sister's, I kept thinking about a verse from an old song, a verse that Arlene and I always loved, for which now has new meaning. How I wish you were here. We're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl year after year. Running over the same old ground. What have we found? The same old fears. Wish you were here. No matter what distractions or normalcy that creeps into times like the dinner and the barbecue, we are in that fishbowl with everyone looking at us with sorrowful eyes. The elephant never leaves the room. In the drive home from my sister's, Arlene and I engaged in a deeply honest discussion about Alex. We've talked about and cried over Alex and his life many, many times since May 2nd, but this felt different. Driving and weeping is never a good idea, but there were times I was doing exactly that. I felt that Arlene reached into her soul to begin exorcising some of the demons of trauma that she sometimes felt over the years because of Alex. We honestly talked about what a tough life he had, fighting every minute with his massive desire to be happy, good, and productive, and the destructive side that drew him to people who were not good and not productive. We talked about how he wanted so desperately to be normal with a family and with real love in his life. We hoped and knew He knew there was deep love for him from many people, but we also know he pushed that away at times. Without saying it, I think we forgave him and somewhat forgave ourselves for not always knowing how to handle that side of mental illness, for not always knowing or doing the absolute right thing. The things we did do and those that we didn't do will still haunt us forever, but I will try to hold on to the sense of mutual forgiveness between him and us that I felt in that car ride. We did acknowledge that no matter which Alex we dealt with, the good and the bad, the loving son and the resentful child, the obsessive personality and the apathetic person, we moved on with love and devotion. Did he know that? I so hope so. I'm so sad and frustrated that I need to think about all this in the past tense. I want what I will never have, which was my son at my side. As I say the words now for the podcast that I wrote over a year ago, I still conjure up those inner pangs of pain and sorrow that I felt then. After that entry, someone suggested that I spend part of my journal time writing directly to Alex. At first, I thought the idea a bit silly because what I write will never be read by one person I so desperately want to still be talking to. As I saw the words flow from my brain to the keyboard through my soul, I understood how great that suggestion was. My first letter to my son was on his birthday, just a couple of weeks after he died. May 20th, 2024. Dear Alex, I'm not sure how to wish someone who you loved with every fiber of your soul happy birthday after they're gone. Just saying or thinking it seems inadequate, but please know that I'm thinking it, and I have said silently and out loud so many times through the sleepless parts of the night since 12 a.m. Today would have been the absolute perfect day for you. A beautiful day to celebrate your 35th milestone birthday, a perfect day to spend with your precious daughter, a perfect evening to have a family barbecue in your happy place in the backyard, a perfect night to indulge in your passion for fireworks. My heart aches with the intensity that I have never felt before because you will be doing none of that. Again, I want to scream to someone, to something, or to nothing. Why? Why will the memories today be all about the memories of you in the past? Why did the universal plan make it necessary for you to never again get a birthday hug from me, from Mom, from Rita, or from Addie? Why will your friends toast you today and think about you when they can no longer call or text their bro, their cuz, their friend, L.A.? You left a mark in this world, Alex. Be proud of that. People loved you, Alex. Be joyous about that. You left a true legacy in Addie. Alex, be thankful for that. I want to tell you a small story of the impact you had on people that you left behind. There are many of these stories, but this one had your mother and I both crying and proud of your influence on others. Yesterday, a friend of yours texted me asking if he could come over and mow the lawn again, your lawn, the one you took pride in, the one you partied on, the one that you took hours to cut in your obsessive way. This is our exchange, me. It'll probably be a tough day for us and Rita, so we appreciate this. His friend. I hear you. I know how much you guys appreciate it, and that is rewarding for me. Also, so thanks for letting me do that for you. You warm my heart. Same to you. You really are great people, and something like this did not deserve to happen. Alex, I wish it was you writing a letter to me after I was gone, telling me about Addie, about Rita, about things trivial and important. That would have been the natural order of life. I wish it was me that carried the weight that you carried your whole life. I wish. We're going to visit you today, and we will raise a glass for you. I wish you were raising the glass for me. I know I will be writing you and talking to you and thinking about you for all the years I have left. I need you to know that I and your mother will do everything we can for Addie and for Rita. Your memory will live on. I love you and miss you more than words will ever be able to convey. Rest now, Alex. I remember writing that letter, and I remember how I cried as I did it, just as I'm crying now as I think about it. It was short, mainly because I was still a bit uneasy writing to you, but really writing to me. It did become easier over time. May 21st, 2024, 5:30 a.m. Waking up in the early hours now seems to be the norm. Thinking about Alex overtakes thoughts of trying to get back to sleep or what the day ahead looks like. I still think I hear noises coming from downstairs where Alex lived, and at times, for a nanosecond, I feel relief that the past 19 days were just a bad dream. The realization that it was not a dream, but rather a living nightmare comes all too quickly. Instead, I lay there on the verge of tears with a pit in my stomach, thinking about what difference I could have made to still have him alive. Tears then do come. Yesterday, a good part of the day was spent with Rita and Addie. We went to the cemetery to wish Alex a happy birthday. But how could we think it would be happy? Seeing a marker on the gravesite with his name was devastating for a few minutes. I did pop open a beer, a Peroni beer that Alex turned me on to years ago, and poured Alex, Rita, me a little so we could have a birthday toast for Alex. While that was a comforting gesture, it did not quell my inner torment and anguish. It was a beautiful day, and we sat by the nearby pond watching Addie smile and giggle with her new bubble-making toy. For many, that probably would have been enough to turn thoughts around. For me, it was lovely and heartwarming. But the absence of her daddy pushed its way into my thoughts with great force. We were still just a few steps away from my son's final resting place. Later at the house, Rita and I talked about her anger at times and her deep sorrow at times towards Alex. I could feel her angst and pain. Why should this special woman be a single parent with a child so young? This is one of the questions that haunts me. Playing with Addie, holding her and making her smile and laugh at my silly, zany stuff, watching her arms stretched out for Arlene to pick her up, seeing her happy in the backyard where her dad had so many good times, was a needed oasis in this journey. When Arlene and I were alone that evening, a more intense and profound sadness made its way into my brain. I wanted so badly to take Arlene's pain away. I wanted her not to worry about my pain. I wanted our journey to not be real. I wanted us to be talking about all the things we wanted to do as a family with Alex, Rita, and Addie. I wanted to be bitching about something Alex said or did, instead of being crushed by the thought of him being gone forever. We talked about the support and love coming from so many people and the surprising absence of some during this time. We knew this is our sorrow, but feeling the love from those who have reached out does offer a degree of solace. I hope that Arlene feels that blanket of warmth coming from our friends and family. I hope and I know she will be okay. I just don't know how to move on. I know. It's only been 19 days, but the path ahead for me looks so dark and lonely. I don't know how to turn off the movie of the second. I don't know how to internalize everyone's protest that it's not my fault and that I couldn't have done anything that day. I have believed for the last 35 years that my mission in life was to love and protect them. Failure is a bitter, bitter pill to swallow when it's washed down with such a huge and pervasive sense of loss. I will go through the motions. I will have moments of life being close to normal. I will laugh, but I know that despair will always be knocking at the door looking to come in. Life was so confusing in those early days of our journey. In the next entry, I try to explain that confusion to myself. Not sure I was successful at that. May 23rd, 2024, 7 a.m. 22 days ago, I was a dad. 22 days ago, I had a son. 22 days ago, he was the happiest I had seen him in a long time. 22 days ago, I drove my son to Pickering to work on a music video for the tracks he had been working on for months. 22 days ago, I had the last great conversation with my son. 22 days ago, the future looked bright. If only time stopped on that day. Addie would have a father, Rita would have a co-parent, Arlene and I would have a son. Time did not stop on that day. Now Addie will grow up without a memory of her father who loved her with all his heart. Rita will be a single parent raising a beautiful daughter. Arlene and I will grow older with a broken heart that will never mend. 21 days ago, all our worlds came crashing down. In the 2 o'clock hour during the night, and the 3 o'clock hour, and the 4 o'clock hour, and the 5 o'clock hour, after dozing for a few minutes at a time, my mind was racing with that damn movie of that damn day during that damned morning when I saw and heard my son's final hours on earth. There's no pause button, nor is there a stop button, only play, rewind, and fast forward, play again. I know that as long as I'm in my right mind, that movie will keep playing. I suppose that is my punishment for not saving him. I want so desperately to keep replaying that car ride to Pickering 22 days ago, but it keeps getting preempted by the movie from 21 days ago. Without Arlene with me, without the joyous anticipation and reality of Rita and Addie visits, and without Pam helping us navigate this so-called journey that has no rest stops or detours along the way, I can't imagine where I would be in 21 days on. Doing daily tasks, preparing dinner, getting ready for bed, getting dressed for work, etc., seems out of place in the new order of life. Arlene and I have come to have the same feeling. Perhaps it is guilt that we are living normally. Perhaps it's guilt for actually just living that has us both feeling it. The weight, the sadness, and the emptiness are all around us and in us. Nothing normal exists for us now. As you can probably tell from the last couple of entries, I was lost and getting more lost. I was seeing and feeling him in every big and small moment, every day, as you will hear from the next entry. May 25th, 2024, 6:20 a.m. I realize that I'm just repeating myself every day when I say that it was another bad sleep night. If I believe the smartwatch I'm wearing that has a sleep measurement app, I am a zombie. It says that I had a total of 3 hours of actual deep sleep during the night. Thankfully, I don't completely believe it. I'm not in a good way. I don't really expect to ever be in a good way. I do expect to fake being in a better way as time goes on. He is in every part of my day and night. Just now, I sat down at my desk, and the carpet under my chair was bunched up. The last time that happened, Alex helped me move my desk to arrange the rug. I sat on the back patio yesterday and stared at the smoker that sits there waiting for someone to use it. He was the only one that ever did, and I saw in my mind him standing there telling me he bought salmon just for us and is smoking it now. I sat alone in my living room for hours yesterday when I came home early from the office, looking at the love seat where he sat when I woke up on May 2nd. I saw it as if it was really happening. Him being sketchy, paranoid, and scared that morning. I see pictures online and relive the time they were taken. He is everywhere. The more I see and feel his presence, the more weight is added to my guilt, regret, and sadness. I know I will have to pull it together for tomorrow's party for Addie's first birthday. I also know that there will be tilted heads and concern from friends and family that will probably never go away. I will be fine for the party, I hope. It does make me think about an expression I've said to others thousands of times in my working career. Work is theater was my common refrain. Faking it was my common process. That expression can now be modified to life is theater. Just thinking about it gives me license to fake my way forward. I always thought that no matter how successful I appeared to be, no matter how many companies I ran, no matter how much I made people around me better, the door to my office would open and the boogeyman would tell me I'm a fraud and not very good at what I was doing, so it's over. I feel now that that boogeyman did come to my house and say that I was not a good enough father, and they are taking that away from me. Loneliness is now a major byproduct of the passing of Alex. For years, I knew that I would have some encounter with Alex, good or bad, on most days. I also knew that I had friends that I could banter with, golf with, watch sports with, have occasional dinners or lunches with. I always knew that I was in a social circle. Now that feels different. I haven't watched sports since the second. I haven't really watched TV since the second. I played only 9 holes of golf. I haven't done much except walk, go to the office, mourn, and reflect. This is a concern of Arlene's for me. I love her even more for having that concern, but it is what it is. Maybe that'll change. For sure, there are moments that I'm distracted and live in the moment. There are times that I think that the mantra of "it's only been X days" helps me look forward. However, all those moments are few and are fleeting. My greatest purpose in life was being a father. During the darkest moments and during the greatest moments with Alex, I was optimistic that he would eventually have a good life with a family and that he would think of me as a good parent and friend of sorts. Just how can I repurpose my life now? I have no fucking idea. I had the purpose I always wanted, and now I don't. May 27, 2024, 6 a.m. Not a great night's sleep again. Little better than some nights and worse than others. The pattern seems set. Sleep a bit, wake up, spend those waking minutes thinking about Alex, mostly on that day, dozing off, then start all over again after another short burst of slumber. The other pattern that now seems set is the sadness that Arlene and I share after the day is done and the house is quiet. We talk and cry about what was, about what will never be. I'm comforted by Arlene's search for the spiritual side of losing our son. She tells me about what she believes are signs of his presence. She talks about where he is now. She tries to make sense of why he was with us for such short time. She tries to get me to have an open mind about all that she now believes. I wish for nothing more than that, but wishing for the supernatural does not overtake the reality of loss and absence. We all passed a milestone yesterday, one that we all seem to have both joy in reaching and some sadness in actually having it arrive. Addie's first birthday party. The first of her lifetime of parties without her dad. The party was great. Lots of love and warmth, laughing and eating, and presents and family and friends and sunshine. All the thing that Addie deserves. There were moments that filled my heart with love and joy, and a few that brought my anguish quietly into play. As has happened before, at one point when the hustle and bustle of the party was underway, Addie reached up for me to pick her up. She seemed sad when she hugged me, put her head against my chest and cried for a couple of minutes, not letting me go. Was that just a baby moment? Was it her feeling my inner sadness? Or was she momentarily aware that her daddy was missing? I know what I believe. A little later on, I was again holding her and making her laugh and giggle when I stood in front of the pictures I put on the temporary wall of Addie. Like all babies her age, I think, she loves to reach out and touch or grab things, so what she did can be interpreted in so many logical ways. The picture she seemed drawn to and the one she reached out and touched and tried to grab was one with her and Alex. I all but lost it. I had to hand Addie off to Arlene and go into an empty room and weep alone for a few minutes. There was joy and happiness as well. Rita continues to make her way into our heart, and I know into Arlene's. When I see my friends and my family embrace her, I am just so pleased. My love and respect for her grows steadily. She's a remarkable woman facing the daunting task of single parenthood. She is family. I was touched deeply by friends during the course of the afternoon. I understand their concern and their desire to see me and Arlene move forward with our lives. They are interested in my writing, which I'm still torn about sharing. They are seeing a side of me that is raw, sad, exposed, and vulnerable when they read my daily ramblings. They can't unsee what they are seeing in my journal. Their perception of, and their usual way of relating to me, will likely change irrevocably. Having both friends and family reading the journal will extend the tilted head interactions I have with them all. Perhaps it is all for the greater good. Thanks for listening to another installment of my story. I hope you'll join me for future episodes as I reflect on my life now that my son is not in it. Sadness, grief, hope, love, memories, and redefined relationships are all blended together in existence now.